They're playing defense like they did last year. They have their full complement, which they may have going forward, which they didn't last season. And James Harden showed signs last season that he may be overcoming his choking in the playoffs. Even when he wasn't hitting shots, he was taking them. He was getting good looks. He was hooking up his teammates. And importantly, he was playing defense. He was doing what he could. If James Harden can hit shots in the playoffs against the Warriors, Stephen A., they just got to fall. And that's the difference. Make or miss, right? He has to make shots in the playoffs. And I'm telling you right now, if that happens, the Rockets will beat the Warriors.
I'm not worried about the Rockets from the standpoint. I have mad respect for them. I know they can win the championship, but it's not because James Harden is going to make shots. It doesn't matter to me if James Harden makes shots. It matters to me what Golden State is not doing, because Golden State's A game trumps everyone. No pun intended. Trumps everybody. That is the reality of the situation. And as we look at the Warriors getting ready to face the Clippers tonight, there's a reason why Kevin Durant is such a big story. The relevancy of it is because if Kevin Durant is not playing up to snuff, we got a problem. And I can't wait till we talk about him a little bit later on in the show, because he had some very interesting and compelling things to say yesterday, which I want to touch on. But the reality is that that's how I look. You've been focused on the fact that James Harden has struggled in the playoffs because your belief is if James Harden ain't making shots, it's a problem. I want the world to understand my position, since you never hesitate to regurgitate that comment about James Harden not making three-point shots and then missing awfully from three-point range the way that they did last year. I have always been of the mindset, because remember, Max picked Houston to win that series. I picked Golden State to win in 7, knowing that Game 7 was going to be back at the Toyota Center, not believing that Chris Paul was going to be injured, meaning that fully loaded and fully healthy, I still thought Golden State was going to win. Why did I say that? It doesn't matter to me what James Harden does. I know through my experience with basketball that when you have elite players, unfortunately, because we always want consistency from some, sometimes you play up or down to the competition. So I'm of the mindset that Harden could go out there and drop 50. Well, then that means Steph or Kevin Durant going to drop 50. That's how I think. I think that the elite players, when they bring their A game, and usually they're inspired to bring their A game. That's why we were talking about Russell Westbrook yesterday against Damian Lillard, because we look at Damian Lillard and the way that he's performing, and we're saying, do we really think that Russell Westbrook is going to sit idly by and have it given to him by a guy on his level like Damian Lillard? No, we expect a big-time response for Russell Westbrook tomorrow night. I'm saying to you, James Harden shooting 43% from three-point range, averaging a triple-double in this series. I personally think it's a damn near bye series, because Utah's been awful. Donovan Mitchell hasn't done much. They're shooting about 37% from the field. They shot 21% from three-point range last night, 25% from three-point range in Game 1.
They had a very disappointing season beginning to end.
They are struggling scoring the basketball. You have no shot against Houston, and you can't score. But that's not Golden State's problem. And so I believe that when it really hits the fan, I don't believe that James Harden is going to choke. I think James Harden is going to show up. I'm saying it ain't going to matter because KD, Steph, and Klay going to show up.
Let's put it this way. We both agree that at full strength, Golden State's the best team in basketball. If everyone's playing as well as they can, Golden State's the best team. I have reason to believe they may not be at full strength by the time the finals.
We all have reason to believe
First of all, Boogie Cousins ain't going to be playing. Secondly, they're not as hungry as a team like Houston, which has never been there. Almost got to the promised land, not quite. Didn't even really have a chance to play for the title in this era. Also, when you make trip after trip to the finals, there's fatigue and attrition, physical stuff that sets in. But I'll say this. I'll grant you, at full strength, Golden State. Why can't you admit, I understand what you're saying with how you're feeling about it, but if the team you're predicting against is missing their second best player and only other All-Star, they got 2 All-Stars, one of them's not playing, and they miss 27 straight threes and still lose by single digits, you mean to tell me you're sure they were going to lose that game anyway?
Time out. Don't change the narrative. The fact of the matter is we walked into the Western Conference Finals last year. I picked Golden State fully believing that James Harden was going to explode. So what I'm trying to say to you is you're looking at the reasons they lost a particular game. I'm looking at athletes who are great, who do what they have to do when the moment calls for it. I believe that if Harden was hitting his threes last year in Game 7 and Trevor Ariza had a shot 0 for 12 from the field, I think we would have seen more of an explosion from KD and Steph. That's what I believe.
What have KD and Steph done in their past to show you that they're that type of player, to put a team on their back in crunch time?
Are you asking me on national television whether or not Steph Curry and Kevin Durant have had moments in their career where they put a team, or Klay Thompson, who dropped 41, I don't remember, I think it was like 41 or something like that, against OKC in a pivotal Game 6 when they were on the cusp of getting eliminated?
I didn't mention Klay.
What I'm saying to you is that guys show up when it's called upon.
Actually, Steph Curry in that first championship and the second one, the loss to Cleveland, had a lot of moments in a lot of close games that were like, whoa, Steph, what's up?
The first championship was the first championship because he was MVP and there were things that was expected of him. The second championship, he was hurt during that series, which everybody, even you, admitted. Thirdly, and more importantly, when you point to Houston, let's make sure we understand one another here. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, if Golden State is at their A game, we all know, because you have repeatedly stated that the one team that can knock them off if they're making shots is Houston.
That's right.
So don't give me no A game on Golden State. You're saying James Harden makes shots, that's going to be the difference.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the only difference is Golden State. It don't matter. If Golden State's on their A game, I don't give a damn if Harden drops 60. They're going to lose.
Do you realize?
They're going to lose.
Do you realize if and when Harden does that and they beat Golden State won't even make the conference finals?
I agree.